cases were they were condensation reactions that required a nucleotide triphosphate. In the case of argininosuccinate synthetase, this particular synthetase requires ATP as the nucleoside triphosphate. And this particular enzyme is going to go through a very special intermediate, and that's shown here. It's the citrullyl AMP intermediate. Okay. What's the purpose of this? Well, what the enzyme is going to do is it's going to take citrulline and it's going to transfer the AMP group or the adenylate group onto this carbon right here. So this carbon right here, the circle, that's the carbon onto which the adenylate group is transferred. Why do we do that? Well, the reason we do that is because we're activating citrulline. Okay? We're raising citrulline up in energy. That AMP group is not going to be on that molecule indefinitely. It's just the intermediate in the reaction. So we're activating citrulline so that we can ultimately transfer an aspartate molecule onto citrulline. So the first step of the mechanism is to transfer that adenylate group onto citrulline. The last half of the mechanism, which is labeled 2B near the bottom, is where we use an aspartate amino acid and we cleave off the adenylate and we generate argininosuccinate, thus the name argininosuccinate synthetase. So what have we seen so far? Well, when we did carbonyl phosphate synthetase 1, we burned 2 ATP. That's already energy expensive. But not only that, we had to burn a third one. So that third one is in the enzyme argininosuccinate synthetase. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the third enzyme. And the third enzyme is called argininosuccinate lyase. I'm going to abbreviate that. Argininosuccinate lyase. Another way you might also hear this enzyme referred to is argininosuccinase. Argininosuccinase. And I'm also going to tell you this because it's really important. Oftentimes when you see an aspartate attached to something and the very next enzyme is a lyase, oftentimes what that means is you're going to cleave off a fumarate. Okay? So whenever you see aspartate come on and the very next enzyme is a lyase, that's a good hint that the next substrate that comes off, or I should say the product that comes off, is fumarate. That's a very common motif in enzymes, in amino acid metabolism, and biosynthesis. Now, argininosuccinate lyase is going to produce arginine. So not only are we degrading we're not degrading, but we're getting rid of ammonia, but we're also seeing the biosynthesis of our first amino acid, that's arginine. This is the first biosynthesis, even though technically we're in the amino acid catabolism playlist. And even in the context of an amino acid catabolism chapter, you are going to see some biosynthetic reactions. This is actually how you biosynthesize arginine, is using the urea cycle. Okay, now remember what I said. I wanted you to think about it. We're going to generate some metabolites in these pathways, and you've seen them before, and you should have seen them before in previous studies. And I want you to think what happens to them. Okay, so fumarate, give you a minute to pause the video, and I want you to see if you can figure out where you've seen that before. I'm assuming you'll have to have a go at it. And fumarate is something we saw in the TCA cycle, right? So what we can do with fumarate is we can put it into the TCA cycle, right? We can put it into the TCA cycle, okay? And then when we put it into the TCA cycle, what enzyme does it react with? Well, it reacts with fumarate hydratase. So once we react with fumarate hydratase, what do we get? On my mouse, when we react with fumarate hydratase, we're going to get L-malate, right? So L-malate looks like this. So through one reaction, we're going to get L-malate, right? And then, once we have L-malate, we're going to react that with what? With malate dehydrogenase, right? And in the process, we're going to use NAD, and we're going to get out what? NADH, right? And that's going to give us oxaloacetate, right? So what happened? Well, we ended up burning 3 ATPs just to get rid of one ammonia molecule, right? And that seems very energetically expensive, and it truly is. But because we generate these fumarate, and we can put that into the TCA cycle, where by the end of the cycle we'll get one NADH back, we take away just a little bit of that energy exhaustiveness, right? We take just a little bit of it away and reduce the amount of loss, right? But the fact that we're willing to waste so much energy to get rid of ammonia tells you exactly how important it really is. Okay, so this is our synthesis of arginine, okay? And in the very last step of the cycle, we're going to react with another enzyme. This is purple. This enzyme is called arginase. Arginase, but you get the point. Arginase is a hydrolase, and what it's going to do is it's going to hydrolyze off urea. So this right here, this molecule is urea. And urea, at least in humans, this is the way that we excrete ammonia. We can't just simply excrete ammonia. We have to first convert it to urea, and then our nephrons can deal with it and so forth. So that's the way we excrete it. In fact, urea is also excreted in sweat as well, through Eckert's sweat gland. So we get rid of it that way. But the major source, or the major excretion we can't use. But that's the way we get rid of ammonia, and in the process of generating urea, we regenerate one the L isomer, right? It's just like any other amino acid. It's going to be an L isomer. And when we generate one of these, then we can use a transporter to move it back into the mitochondria, and that's how we regenerate the cycle. So once again, we'll have another carbonyl phosphate waiting for us, and then that ornithine can react with it, again with ornithine transcarbamylase to make citrulline. Okay? So let's do a quick recap of what we've seen. Okay? We have many sources of ammonia in the cell, and most of them are going to be amino acid catabolic pathways. Okay? For instance, if we intake glutamine from the diet, or glutamine, or something that has an ammonia on it, we can react it with enzymes that cleave off the ammonia, leaving nothing more than alpha-ketoglutarate left, right? In fact, one thing you might also think is the alpha-ketoglutarate can also also go into the TCA cycle as well. That's something else we can say. Okay? But the whole point is that, especially in high-protein diets, and in times when we're in starvation fasting, when we have low blood glucose, a higher percentage of our energy is going to come from amino acid metabolism. As a result, we're going to have increased ammonia production. Okay? The way we get rid of ammonia is first by activating it. And we saw through carbomoyl phosphate synthase 1, we have to burn 2 ATPs to get the carbomoyl phosphate, a very energetically exhaustive process. This process, like glutamate dehydrogenase and glutaminase, occurs in the mitochondria. Okay? And in the mitochondria, ornithine trihydrocolase can transfer this part that I circled. It can transfer this part onto ornithine in the mitochondria to generate citrulline. And again, I might also specify that just like with ornithine, this is the L isomer, so we call it L-citrulline. Then L-citrulline can exit the mitochondria, and the rest of the cycle takes place in the cytosol. Citrulline reacts with arginine succinate synthetase, and it transfers an adenylate group onto the carbon that's labeled in yellow. This activates citrulline so that you can transfer the aspartate amino acid onto it, generating arginine succinate. And by the way, something else we also should note about this reaction is the first part of it is going to cleave off pyrophosphate. And certainly you've seen my videos on fatty acid activation, where we had fatty acyl-CoA synthetase. We also generated a pyrophosphate. And if you remember, we had an enzyme that reacted with inorganic pyrophosphate called inorganic pyrophosphatase. And what this enzyme did is it cleaved apart the pyrophosphate into 2 inorganic phosphates. And this reaction is associated with a very large negative delta G. That negative delta G that releases free energy, that exergonic reaction, is used to drive work in the cell. Okay, so we generated argininosuccinate, and now we're going to use argininosuccinate lyase to cleave off fumarate, and we end up generating arginine. So that's the biosynthesis, at least the first one we've seen for the amino acid. Okay, and the fumarate can then go into the TCA cycle and react with fumarate hydratase to give us this. This is malate, right? And then malate dehydrogenase, this is oxaloacetate, completing the TCA cycle, and also in the process giving us 1-NADH. Okay, so when we're going throughout these pathways, just think about that. We're going to generate all sorts of metabolites in these processes. Just think about where they might go in the cell. So start fumarate, keep that in mind, and also keep in mind NADH and things like that. Okay, so we have arginine, and then to complete the cycle, which is going to occur in the cytosol, we're going to hydrolyze off urea, and that regenerates ornithine, which goes back into the mitochondria to reset the cycle. Okay, so I hope this video gave you a little bit of intuition on the urea cycle. See you in the next video. What we know about the urea cycle. And to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to first talk very briefly about transaminases. And actually, in the next video, we're also going to talk about transaminases. We're going to talk about alanine aminotransferase. And also what we're going to do to really solidify the urea cycle is to talk about the aspartate argininosuccinate shunt. We talked about generating fumarate. We talked about supplying argininosuccinate synthetase from aspartate. How do we do that? We're going to answer that in this video. Welcome back. In the last video, we looked at the urea cycle. We saw that the urea cycle is useful for eliminating ammonia from the body, especially in times of a high-protein diet, or when we're constantly catabolizing amino acids. Okay, and we're actually going to do a continuation of that in the last half of this video. But before we do that, we're going to talk about a really, really important topic. And by the way, this topic is important not only for amino acid catabolism, but it's also important in amino acid biosynthesis and nucleic acid biosynthesis. So you'll see this again and again and again, so it's good that you get it now. Okay, so let's say that I have this molecule right here. And if I ask you what functional group that is, you would tell me that it's a carbonyl, right? And let's say that I have some enzyme pathway, but that pathway does not require a carbonyl. Instead, it requires this. Let's say that instead it requires an amine, right? So instead of requiring the carbonyl, it requires an amine. Well, it would be good and dandy if I had the amine, right? But instead I have the carbonyl, and that's a problem, right? Because the pathway wants this guy, right? It wants the amine, okay? Well, it turns out that there's a type of enzyme that can interconvert carbonyls and amines, okay? And it pains me to say this, but I'll say it anyways, just because it helps conceptualize what's happening, okay? It pains me to say this, but you can effectively think of these reactions as a substitution reaction between carbonyl and amine. Now note that I'm not telling you that's what happens mechanistically. In fact, mechanistically, from an organic perspective, it's very, very different. It requires pyridoxal phosphate as a coenzyme. But effectively, when you're drawing reactions and you're trying to think of structures on the exam, this is what you can do now. It's a substitution between a carbonyl and amine. But so where does the amine come from, right? So that would imply that you also have to start with another molecule that has to have it as well. You do. So let's say that I start with this. Let's say R double prime and R triple prime. And let's say this has amine on it, right? Well, if it's truly an effective substitution, then I can put this amine in here. I can put this amine in here, and then I should get a carbonyl out of this, right? So what did we just see? Well, we just saw that a carbonyl was transformed into an amine, and an amine was transferred or transformed into a carbonyl. Okay? The type of enzyme that catalyzes this reaction is called a transaminase. A transaminase. Sometimes they're called aminotransferases. But the key with transaminases is they're usually interconverting, they're always interconverting carbonyls and amines. Okay? And one thing that's important to realize is most of the time, like 99% of the time in the pathways you're going to see, the carbonyl is a ketone. Sometimes it can be an aldehyde, but ordinarily it's going to be a ketone. And I believe, for the purposes of Leninger's Biochem 1 and 2, that textbook, 6th edition, I believe everything's a ketone. I might be wrong, but basically the carbonyl is usually a ketone. It can be an aldehyde, however, but they're saying it's carbonyl, and it's going to be transformed into an amine. Okay. And see a very generic reaction like this, but it's probably going to be more effective for you to see an actual reaction of something that's actually happening in your body. Okay, and to do that, let's go ahead and look up at this picture up here. Okay, now the main thing I want to point your attention to in this video is the TCA cycle, which is shown right here. Right, there's the citric acid cycle, and you can't really see it too well, but right where it says malate aspartate shown right here, this is the division line between the mitochondria and the cytosol. So everything above that red line, that's the cytosol, right, and everything below the line is in the mitochondria, right. And if you remember, the citric acid cycle takes place in the matrix of the mitochondria, right? Okay. And let's think back to gluconeogenesis. Well, if we think back to gluconeogenesis, right, what did we do? Well, we took a molecule of pyruvate, right, and we used pyruvate carboxylase, which is in the mitochondria, and we converted it to oxaloacetate, which is shown there, right here in the CCA zone, right? There's oxaloacetate. But if you remember, right, there were no transporters in the membrane of the mitochondria for oxaloacetate, right? So we had a molecule of oxaloacetate, right? And there were a few ways we got around it, right? The first way we got around it is we first converted oxaloacetate into malate, right? So we convert it into malate, and then we transport malate across the membrane. So then we transport malate across the membrane, and then we convert it back to oxaloacetate. So there were no transports for oxaloacetate, right? But if we were to first convert it into malate using mitochondrial malate dehydrogenase, then transport malate across the membrane, and then convert it back to oxaloacetate with cytosolic malate dehydrogenase, right? Then we'd effectively move oxaloacetate out into the cytosol where gluconeogenesis can occur. And if you remember, that would that oxaloacetate react with phosphoenolpyruvate carboxykinase to do phosphoenolpyruvate. So that was one way we got around getting oxaloacetate through the membrane, but it's just ineffective moving it across the membrane. It wasn't actually moving it across because we're actually moving malate across. What was another way? Well, another way we got around it, and the only other way we've seen so far, is we first converted it to phosphoenolpyruvate. That was done by phosphoenolpyruvate carboxykinase, and that is a mitochondrial enzyme. Okay? And actually, if you were to label what are mitochondrial, this is mitochondrial, this is mitochondrial, and this one is cytosol, right? But we use phosphoenolpyruvate carboxykinase in the mitochondria, and then, once we did that, then we could transport phosphoenolpyruvate out of the mitochondria into the cytosol, right? So PEP would now be in the cytosol, and then we could run gluconeogenesis, right? Well, it turns out there's one more way to get oxaloacetate effectively through the membrane, okay? And that's going to be using a transaminase, okay? So what I'm going to do now for you is I'm going to draw the reaction of a transaminase. So let's do this. Let's draw oxaloacetate. So right here we're drawing oxaloacetate, and I'm going to specifically point you to the carbonyl that I talked about. Notice there are 3 carbonyls in this molecule, but we're specifically talking about the ketone one. So this is the one I'm talking about, okay? And it turns out that oxaloacetate can be interconverted. This is an equilibrium reaction. It can be interconverted with aspartate. So if we're doing aspartate, we're going to do it like this. So here's going to be aspartate. And the carbonyl would effectively be replaced by the amine, right? And this would be the alpha amine of aspartate, right? So this molecule right here, let me do it in gray. This molecule is oxaloacetate, and this molecule is aspartate. Specifically, it's L-aspartate, right? Okay. But how is it that we get from oxaloacetate to aspartate, right? Well, we have to have an amine to start with, right? Well, what's the amine? Well, the amine that we start with is going to be glutamate. It's going to be glutamate, okay? So let's start with glutamate. Give me a second to draw it. So here is glutamate. And if we're pointing to the amine that we're starting with, it's this one right here, right? There's our amine. And if you remember the reaction of the transaminase, you should expect that particular bond to now be a carbonyl, and in fact it will be. So effectively what happens is that amine that's circled in orange, that amine is this amine right here, right? So we should also expect that particular amine to be replaced with a carbonyl. And by